Higashi-Koya-Kaido. That's the old road from Kyoto, Iwashimi's Hachimangu Shrine, going through the east part of Osaka, and heading to Koyasan, which belongs to Wakayama Prefecture. That's the way that the ancient people of Japan had been walked and preserved. That's a way that has over 90 kilometers so long and tough road. Me and you actually have been walking this road, and we've seen a lot of beautiful sceneries and a lot of historical buildings. Beautiful sceneries from the mountains. Solemn temples. Beautiful shrines. Nice shopping streets. Authentic ancient tombs. Wide and quiet rivers. Many areas that has a historical atmosphere. I've shown you much beautiful sceneries that I can't show you enough in this introduction. And I can say we can't meet those sceneries if we just come to Koyasan by getting train. And that's the truth that those sceneries are the real authentic sceneries of Japan. And now we finally walk it all the way. And we are getting into Koyasan, the place of pilgrimage. There's so many movies and channels that introducing Koyasan. But I think this is the first movie that introduces Koyasan just after walking the Higashi-Koya-Kaido. And I believe you'll definitely enjoy this movie. Because we've walked this road and we've seen the beautiful sceneries of that road together. If you have not seen my previous movies yet, I recommend stop this movie and please go to my previous movies and then please come back again. Now ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting. Now we are finally going into Koyasan. Vamos! At first, we arrived at this place. It's called Nyonindo. That means women's hall. In the ancient era, women weren't able to get into Koyasan because the monks had to become real monk by prohibiting every single desire in this world. They couldn't have wife, couldn't have money, they only could train themselves. But in the era of Meiji period, women will finally get allowed to go into Koyasan. Now we are at the front of Renge-jōin. It's a kind of temple which famous of the relationship between Sanada family. Sanada Masayuki and his son Sanada Yukimura were from Shinshu region, Nagano prefecture. At the Sengoku period, they fought against Tokugawa Ieyasu, who built the Edo shogunate after the Sengoku period. Ieyasu forced them to move to Koyasan and they had lived at this temple. But they moved down to Kudoyama town because Koyasan was too cold in winter. And more, Koyasan was prohibited to women, so they couldn't live with their wives and daughters. I introduced Kudoyama town in the previous movie, so please check it out. I came to Koyasan in June. It's actually not the season of autumn red leaves, but Koyasan has an elevation 900 meters, so the temperature is lower than other cities. So you can enjoy those red leaves just like you are in autumn. This is called Tokugawa-ke Reidai. Reidai means a mausoleum. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's related to Tokugawa family. I just introduced Tokugawa Ieyasu before. Tokugawa and Sanada fought each other in the era of Sengoku period. But now they are both resting in Koyasan together. In the Sengoku period, Koyasan was so famous that all the kings wanted to have their graves in this Koyasan. Actually, you can see such graves of kings at the last part of this movie. There are over 100 temples at this Koyasan. I think it's not possible to see all of those temples in a day. So I'd recommend staying one night at here if you want to see many temples. You can book a room in those temples like Renge-join. Now we are heading to the biggest temple over here. It's called Kongo-Buji. It's considered as a most important temple of this Koyasan. It has a wide side, big temple. The look of this Kongo-Buji is overwhelming. You should definitely visit this Kongo-Buji if you visit here. It takes 1,000 yen if you want to get into the temple. But I'd recommend buying a ticket which can enter all of the places in Koyasan. And it takes 2,500 yen, so it's reasonable. Now we are moving to the another important part of this place. It's called Danjo Garan. This is actually the most famous part of Koyasan, like Kongo-Buji we've seen before. It consists of several temples, and each of them have their beauties and goodness. This is called Higashi-To, which means the East Tower. This red tower is called Kompon Daito, the most important building of Koyasan. Because this is the first building that built in this Koyasan, directed by Kukai. This is considered as the symbol of Koyasan. Somebody is going around that building. It's like a merry-go-round that can be seen in Europe and US. It says once you go around by the building, it is same as you chant a sutra once. The left building is not a temple, it is a kind of shrine. It's called Miyashiro. As you know, the shrines are dedicated to the god of Japanese, and the temples are for the Buddhism imported from India. Those are different religions, but they are at the same place. We call that phenomenon Shinbutsu Shugo, Shinto and Buddhist syncretism. Before the Buddhism was imported from India to Japan, they believed their own god of their religion. After the Buddhism was introduced to them, it spread so rapidly. And the face of Japanese Shinto is so tolerant. They accepted the gods of Buddhism easily because of their tolerance. In Japan, they say 8 million gods can dance at the edge of a thin needle. They believe gods exist in every single stuff. A man, an animal, an insect, a mountain, a tree, a leaf. It explains the tolerant attitude of Japanese. Now we are heading to the final destination. Before that, let's take a look at other sides of Koyasan. We can see a guidance of English and French. I'm not good at French, but it's definitely French. Bienvenue. This statue is called Akajizo. It just looks like a small child. In the old China, they believe the red color is good to their health and their life. As you know, the flag of China is a red one. And the Buddhism was not directly imported from India. That was imported from China actually. This is the town side of Koyasan. You can enjoy eating and drinking here. In public stands, drinking alcohol is strictly prohibited in Koyasan. But actually, they often drank by considering this alcohol as a kind of medicine. That is called Hannyato. Of course, you can enjoy drinking now. You can find such restaurants of sushi, soba at reasonable prices. And also you can enjoy the authentic Washoku cuisine like kaiseki ryori. The price is almost 10,000 yen. And if you stay at those temples, you can enjoy the meals of Buddhism. It's called Shojin Ryori. It's a kind of vegetarian meals. This is a shop of sesame tofu. Tofu is so famous one. It's called Koya tofu. This is a pharmacy. There are an unique medicine. It's called Dara Nisuke. It's an old medicine for stomach. This temple is related to Burma. Now we call it Myanmar, a famous Buddhism country. 90% of the people believes Buddhism, and their faith is called Jozabu Bukkyo. And contrary, the faith of Japanese Buddhism is called Daijo Bukkyo. Those are different, but the origin of them is the same. There are so many kinds of temples indeed. It's hard to see every temples even if you stay 2 days at here. Now we finally come to the place, Okuno-in. This place is a kind of graveyard. We can see a lot of old, beautiful graves. We can feel the solemn atmosphere by those old graves, big trees. It has been preserved 1,200 years indeed. Almost of those graves are dedicated to the kings and generals of the old era, especially in the era of Sengoku period. In that era, there are so many kings at each region of Japan. And the battles were endlessly repeated. They fought each other in 16th century, but now they are resting at the same place. That explains how the Koyasan is so important for the people of the old era. If you are interested in visiting this place, I'd recommend reading a book of Japan's history, especially in the era of Sengoku period. You can definitely enjoy visiting here by doing that before your visit. Now we are finally reaching at the end of Okunoin. At here, Kukai, aka Kobo Taishi, is still doing his training. He went down to the bottom of this temple to help people suffering by that era. And they believe he has been training and praying until now from 1200 years ago. He is so respected because he went to China and then he spread the faith of Buddhism after he returned to Japan. He had traveled all around Japan when he was young. He also walked the Higashi-Koya-Kaido like us, of course. You can see many traces of him at the road indeed. Now we've just arrived. It's strictly prohibited by taking photos, movies, and make some noise. Now let's go to meet him. Finally, we could meet Kukai. These are the graves of the victims of Hanshin Awaji big earthquake and the East Japan earthquake. A long way from Kyoto to Koyasan is ending now. Let's go back to Osaka by taking bus and the cable car and the train. So how was our trip, walking almost 100 kilometers from Kyoto? It's easy to come to Koyasan from Osaka by taking train. You can get here from Namba Station, Nankai Railways. It takes about 2 hours actually. And even you can come here directly from the Kansai International Airport. I recommend taking those trains by your first visit of Koyasan. But if you have already been here, and if you are thinking of visiting here again, and if you have enough time, enough willingness, and if you have enough confidence in your legs, how about thinking of walking the road Higashi-Koya-Kaido? I'm certain you can enjoy 100 times more than just taking trains to get there. I am introducing the unknown maniac side of Japan. Just like you can't find in your guidebooks. Please subscribe my channel and push the good button. Now, see you again soon.